This video is titled Business Development and what it really means to build real relationships, how to really cultivate your competitive edge, and how to stand out in a world where everything has been commoditized. Information and everything as we know it has been commoditized. Business is still all about relationships. And today, more than ever, it's deeper than we once knew it before. It's about bringing real value and exchanging it for other tangible and intangible values. It's now beyond just finding things in common with people that we want to have in our circle. It's beyond building rapport and small talk and finding many commonalities and common grounds. It's beyond, hey, we have common rapport, maybe same school, same kids playing in the same sports, the same neighborhood, the same school, the university, etc. That's old and outplayed and overused, and we now want more for our time. It just makes more sense that when we prioritize people in our circles, as we choose to spend our time in networks with others, it's only natural that we want more, especially for that one-on-one time. It's how we allocate and how we prioritize meetings, dinners, lunches, or drinks. And I don't mean this that we are being selfish. I don't want that being taken out of context. What I mean is that it is up to us as individuals to be thinking beyond just what's in it for ourselves. It is up to us as individuals to think beyond surface level and think beyond of what we would typically offer them. It is up to us to really conceptualize and contextualize how we can help them, what ways we can leverage ourself, our situation, our expertise, our experience, our knowledge, our context. How else can we help this individual that we plan to meet with? It is up to us to bring forth these ideas and have it ready to brainstorm for them in advance. It is up to us to provide suggestions on different areas and aspects of how we can help them versus us expecting them to help us. Here's what I don't mean. We're meeting for dinner, we're going here for quite some time, we've already built up a lot of rapport, and I'm gonna go ahead and ask you, I'm low on my numbers, can you do me a favor and make an introduction for me, etc. Well, look, this may have got you somewhere in the past, and maybe some of your contacts were willing to go that length for you when you really need it the most. But this is nothing in the realm of what I'm referring to. So I wanted to point this example out because it's very easy to assume that I'm referring to using the old tactics or even terrible tactics with our very valuable contacts. Okay. And now I will say, it doesn't mean that that old tactic doesn't work. It just means the last thing you want to do is constantly be asking for someone to scratch your back. This is going to require us to really brainstorm and think a lot outside of our boxes, out of our natural element. We need to think differently than we have normally been conditioned to think. And we have to think without asking them to do our homework. It is up to us to put together the information based on the industry they may work in, the kind of customers they're serving, or it could be something completely different, like coming up with different tactics on prospecting ideas. Again, we need to find different ways to really be different, be better than we have been before. We must dig deeper and pull out some true value for our partners and our networks. We need to really maximize and value our contacts, our centers of influences. One example I used to do when I worked in the industry, and I know for many people that have used this tactic and approach, it has truly been a game changer. At least for me, I've never encountered anyone else who has put this process in play, and if they have, they probably didn't execute it on this the way I have. All right, so here we go. I would go to my top 5 people in my circle. Sometimes I would even add someone in my circle that I want to be in that circle, but they just weren't there yet. I had not yet earned that relationship. I would then meet with them monthly. I was really straight and concise to the point. I told them, here are the companies I want to get in the door with. Do you know any of these company names? Do you happen to know the owner, the CFO, the president, anyone of influence in this company that I knew I wanted to get in the door with? Okay. Then I asked them, what can I do to earn that respectable and meaningful introduction? And I say this with intensity because it is not just about, hey, can you send me a very quick email introduction? That to me is a soft introduction that still requires me to truly earn their buy-in just to meet for the appointment. And of course, like all of us, we'll take what we can get. So I'm not saying that not to be appreciative of those. If those come around, wonderful. Okay. Now, typically, so when I would ask them in return, I said, what can I do for you and how can I help you with your list of top prospective companies? Typically, they would never even have a list unless they knew that I was coming and that we had done this before. But for the most part, they're very impressed because I was willing to go above and beyond in finding unique and creative ways to help them get in the door with their list of top priority prospects. Once we had a good connection and understanding of this process, it began to flow very smoothly and more swiftly over time. And I would meet with them and we would put out new names to our lists. We would swap out ones that we couldn't make real traction on, and we would come back to those later. We helped each other work together and collaborate, even though we were in completely different industries and had completely different functions and roles. I know what I would do is I would even swap out the individuals' names who I was meeting with and see who I could develop deeper relationships with. So over the course of these years, I began to really develop strong centers of influences. They knew me beyond just the commercial bank officer in commercial banking. And I began to see them beyond the partner at their top accounting firm in our city. I did this with other industries and partners, and I continued to build deep, strong connections with so many people. I even began to do the same thing in approach and tactics with my customers. So for example, once I had established a very good and solid relationship with one of my customers, which were typically just business owners who served the B2B market, once I had those great relationships, I would meet with the owner, the CFO, the president. It would depend on who I felt my strongest connection there was with. And I would handle the same process. I would tell him, hey, look, here are some companies that I'm looking to get in the door with. Do you happen to know any of them? And then I would tell him, who are you looking to get in the door with? What are the top companies that you know your business would do tremendous if you had a solid introduction? And I would go to work for them. That's exactly what I did time and time again. Now, I did not promise that I can get them, but I went above and beyond to see who I could find and how I could get my way in there for them. And trust me, as simple as this may sound to you, this is something that's not being done. And let me tell you, these people truly, truly have valued the relationship with me on a level that no one could compete with. This approach and tactic, literally I began to apply it across all industries. And it has been truly my competitive edge in these last 12 years. And the great and wonderful thing is that all of you watching this video segment, or for those who are listening to the audio series, you can too leverage my process and begin to truly set yourself apart from many of you and your competition in the marketplace. I say this with intensity and with passion and certainty because this is my truth. This is my narrative. This is how I've wanted to build relationships, and this is how I've done so by giving more for what I'm asking for in return. I'm someone who has lived a life of always hoping to truly add real value, adding real meaning and purpose in all of my interactions as being a banker or as an entrepreneur. But I began to step up my level when I noticed that we were all competing for the same thing. We were all offering the same products, the same services to the same degree. Maybe there were some slight variations, but let me just tell you, it was all the same. And beyond the textbook definition of competitive advantage, beyond the price, location, convenience, and customer service, I had to think how I can go above and beyond what anyone else was doing, and I wanted to set that tone. And once I mastered this process, I became the top in my field and no one could compete with me. And it was very, very well known that my customers were my customers for life. And no one understood what I was doing and had created such a connection and long-lasting bond with them. Over time, I actually showed my customers how I did this and encouraged them to do it with their prospects and their employees and their top salespeople as well. Again, they were very grateful and appreciative of my tactics and impressed that I had even thought to go this far to help them. So beyond just doing this process, you can always tweak it to your benefit depending on what industry you're in and how you want to tackle the marketplace. Make it yourself, make it yours. Again, I always continue to share priceless advice and timeless ideas. These are my amazing, effective ways to properly build relationships. This is about building depth, building loyalty, and earning trust, long-term trust. These are absolute must-add tactics to your business development strategy. I believe, as a practitioner of this process for over 10 years, that this is a game changer. Now, if you attempt this process and don't fully commit or follow through, they will quickly think you're full of it and don't expect for them to believe you 6 months later, all right? So you're better off not going forward if you can't fully commit and do it the right way. I hope truly that those of you watching in had some takeaways here that can help you in your business. These are my best business development tactics and I wanted to share with the community. My information will be in the description below. All of my social media links. You can check me out on SoundCloud, iTunes, and I hope that you subscribe to my channel and please, please share with anyone that you think could value from this message as well. Thank you.